Welcome to the Prana Show. I'm your host, Tina Louise Balodi.
And I'm Alan Balodi.
I'm Isabella Sarah Balodi. And I'm Gabrielle Letso Balodi.
Brian Hilliard is a master in mindful language and raising the vibration of the planet with his transformational vocabulary. He is the soulmate of Arielle Ford, author of the international bestseller, The Soulmate Secret, Manifest the Love of Your Life with the Law of Attraction. Her latest book, Wabi Sabi Love, The Ancient Art of Finding Perfect Love in Imperfect Relationships, offers a groundbreaking shift in perception, showing couples how to have a deeper, more loving, and more fulfilling relationship. Brian's primary focus has been on humanitarian projects, as well as assisting nonprofit organizations in the areas of fundraising, business consulting, and hands-on participation. As a very powerful example of a loving spiritual partnership, Brian and Arielle enjoy being together 24/7 and traveling the world to share their insights on loving, connected relationships. Hi, Prana Boosters! Today's featured guest Prana Booster is my high vibration friend and soul brother, Brian Hilliard.
Hello, Tina. Hi, everyone. Much love to you all. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, and I'm grateful and really honored to be here, Tina. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the Prana Boost Show today. We're so grateful to have you here with us to share space and time and connect with you today.
Well, we love what you're doing. We love the fact that you're connecting lots of people, opening hearts. It's something that's very meaningful to myself and my beloved Arielle. So, I'm just very, very grateful to share space and time and create some love and generate some real delicious heart vibes to you and your audience and to the world. So thank you.
Thank you too. Me too. I'm excited to talk with you about so many of my favorite topics, including finding and maintaining the love of a soulmate, working with your life partner and soulmate, which you and I both do,
Yes.
mindful language, and these are just a couple of things that I listed, but maintaining that high vibration energy and also dedicating your life to inspire others about love, which I know you guys do, with, lots of traveling. Even if you have downtime, you still travel all over to share those messages, and I think that's amazing. I wanted to tell you, I really enjoyed listening to you and Arielle share your love stories, and I thought that you were the perfect person. I had been thinking about you for a while, and my kids were like, aren't you going to invite, they would say that guy Brian, right, because they haven't met you yet, and I said, yeah, I want to, I really want to, and I wanted to ask you, but I didn't feel like I had a good enough reason, or I don't know, the timing wasn't right, maybe I was a little scared, I don't know. And then I knew that my husband and I were celebrating a very special this month, which is our 21-year dating anniversary together, and I thought, who better to talk about long-lasting love than Brian? And so that's when I reached out. I was just inspired to reach out.
Well, thank you. Divine timing. It's just the exact perfect time to be discussing these topics. We love to talk about these topics, and love is the foundation of everything we do in our lives. So this is going to be really delicious. Thanks, Tina, and congratulations on 21 years. And you've got some tremendous insights and wisdom and two beautiful big hearts to endure and have that kind of longevity and actually make each day more beautiful, more loving, and more caring for each other and your kids. I love looking at the pictures of your kids. They rock my world. I can't wait to give them a big hug someday, because I think children are definitely our future, and I'm big with kids. I love kids. We have 26 nieces and nephews.
Oh my God! Wow.
We have a large extended family, and we're devoted to them. So it's fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that my girls are growing up around this. I mean, they are part of my biggest inspiration for Prana Boost and Prana Boost parenting and everything that we're doing to share these messages. They just, they're around all the time because they don't go to school, so we homeschool.
Yes.
And we're always together. It's kind of all, oh, you want to come say hi? Come here. This is one of them. I'm talking about her. Her ears were burning.
Hello, sweetheart.
Isabella, meet Brian. This is our oldest, Isabella. She's 11.
Hi, Isabella. You're so beautiful. I love your smile. you radiate lots of heart and love from that beautiful heart of yours. I can't wait to meet you in person someday.
I'm so happy you came down to say hi. It's so good that you're here. You know what? I was going to tell Brian just now that when I was preparing for this podcast, it was so interesting because I remembered, I don't often use the word soulmate. I don't know. But then I remembered that on the inside of my wedding band, my husband and I, both have a wedding band that matches, obviously. And I totally forgot about this, but on the inside, we actually have written. Did I ever show you this, baby? I never showed you this. Well, because there wasn't a lot of room, I guess there's more room. I don't know why we did it, but in order to have it fit, we actually wrote Soulmates Forever on our wedding bands.
Oh, beautiful.
But with a M8, like the number 8 and an S, we wrote it like a license plate. So
that's very cool.
Yeah, so it says Soulmates Forever. I can't believe I didn't tell you that. Oh, well, we learn something new every day.
Well, we're on the same wavelength, Tina, because we have matching rings, and they're very special to us. Ritual and symbols and synchronicities and signs and such are, we pay attention to, and they have some meaning for us. So we have ancient symbols of soulmates, two souls emerging, and then they're anchored on both sides by big, beautiful carved out hearts.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, what do you think of that, Isabella?
That's pretty
cool, huh?
I love that. It's so creative and so personal. So I wanted to tell you, too, I hope you're okay with this before we really get into the conversation. Last night, I gave you a nickname.
Yes.
So my youngest daughter, Gabrielle, she always, after integrating everything that we've learned, she kind of walks around the house asking us to stay high stay high vibration. So if she feels like the vibration is, lowering or something, she'll be like, stay high vibe. And she's like my little, our little cheerleader.
Absolutely.
And so last night I nicknamed you Stay High, wait, what did I nickname you? Oh my God, now I'm forgetting. High Vibe Bri.
All right. I love that. I'm gonna carry that forth with me forever. I love something like that. Playing sports, I had many nicknames, but that's one of the best, coolest, and most loving nicknames I've ever had. So I'm gonna keep that, if you don't mind. That's really cool.
Okay, well, I really liked it. I don't know why, it just came to me. It was really fitting. But so anyway, I wanted to just briefly tell you and our audience as well, what a prana booster is, what it means to us, and why we even came up with that term. Since I'm calling you one, I thought I could describe what it actually is. But I write, a prana booster is someone who understands we are all one. We are all connected to each other. A prana booster sees the world through loving eyes and offers compassion and empathy to others rather than judgment. A prana booster is committed to using mindful language that will uplift or boost and add to the well-being of another human, free of blame, shame, guilt, and filled with loving kindness. So that's what a prana booster is.
Well, that is something I'll continue to breathe in. That's beautiful. I always set the intention every morning and every day and every moment to try to fulfill that definition of a prana booster. So I'm on your team.
You're awesome. Yeah, and that's actually part of why we connected. So one of my biggest passions that really aligns with my soul has been learning about. Do you want to go? You can go. I love you. Thank you.
Have fun.
Thank you. Learning about transformational vocabulary and mindful language. It's a big, huge passion of mine, and it's something we focus on a lot in our house and, with our parenting and how we teach our girls. But learning about the power and vibrational energy behind what we say to ourselves and what we say to others and about others, how we show up in the world. And I love a quote by Deepak Chopra, which states, I love this one, and I always tell the girls this too, I say, your cells are eavesdropping on your internal dialogue. So you must be aware that your body can hear what you say. And last year I became really aware of you on a more personal level and your posts and what you would write. And after I saw your responses and how you spoke and interacted online, it made my heart sing, and I was like, this can't be. This guy is talking with all this love. I'm like, this is so rare, but I love it. I'm so excited about it. And I would tell my family, and I would let them know. I would be like, oh, Brian wrote me, and he wrote this amazing thing. And so I would, say to them, how am I going to come up with a response that's as high vibe as, high vibe So,
High five bro, I like that.
yeah.
And Deepak's my high five bro. As you know, we're very close. Arielle worked with him from day one, and we're family. We travel together all over the world, and we
Oh,
work
wow.
together. So I know exactly where those words come from. And Deepak and his wife, beautiful wife Rita, they live that, they breathe that, and what comes through Deepak is something that I cherish, and it sounds like we've been on the same wavelength, Tina, from day one, because prana, chi, energy, and information at the quantum level and beyond is something I pay very close attention to, and I was curious enough at a young age, and supported by my amazing mother and father, and particularly my mom, who was really into this stuff, way ahead of her time. Allowed for me, nurtured me, and knew that I had to have a long leash in life. And so most of my journey has been to explore the depths of love, care, and compassion and empathy in terms of self-love and care, but actually as it relates to being of service to the world and others and humanity and the globe. So we are in entrainment, dear friend, because I've again been devoted to paying attention to how much kindness, how much love can you distribute to every relationship, which is the relationship and discovery of yourself, but as it relates to radiating that out to the world. So you're creating poetry of the heart for me, my dear. So this is all great stuff. So I could talk all day about this.
I know. I wanted to mix in other topics and, and get to talk about a lot, but it's really my favorite topic too. And, I incorporate so much of it in my parenting that, my youngest daughter, she walks around saying also, if we say something, she'll say what you do want, or can you say it, or she'll say, can you say it in another way that feels better to all of us?
Fun. Well, I always appreciate mentors and teachers, so I'd like to come over to your house and have your daughters teach me a thing or two, because I can always learn more and expand my heart. And it sounds like you have beautiful earth angels on the planet, and they're sharing with you and all of us tremendous wisdom and the infinite potential, as our friend Deepak would say, to love and care for each other. So. And thank you for acknowledging the communication I intend to have and share with my Facebook community. It was very intentional, and it was all around your prana booster definition and my, again, lifelong journey. Science and quantum physics and mystic living shamanic experiences have been something that's very valuable to me, and with the people that I've been with most of my life, I've learned that it's, again, there's so much depth to understanding love through your own actions and your own words and and how you manifest and how you show up in the world. It's infinite. So we're constantly learning. I'm constantly learning, but in every word has potency and energy behind it.
Right.
As you know, so we can carefully go into our hearts, align with our mind, which is something I've been pursuing in the research world and the world of science, that this is the mainframe and your mind is the subterminal. And when you entrain these two beautiful things, that's when you have incredible efficacy in terms of how you express love, kindness and care and compassion to the world. We all know it in different ways and different languaging, but for me, I truly did pay attention. And my beautiful sister-in-law, Debbie Ford, encouraged me, invited me, nudged me lovingly to join Facebook. Your audience might be interested. I've never had a cell phone or a smartphone.
Oh, wow.
I'm really pretty much off the grid. Arielle keeps track of all of our things with her, all her fancy technology. But I've really purposely, after I got out of the business world, intended not to add, that technology to my life, and just explore these principles and things you're sharing. So that's been my devotion and my journey. And then again, Debbie wanted me to stay in close contact with her community around the world. You might know of Debbie Ford's work.
Yes, of course I do.
Yes.
I actually saw her at the wonderful Celebrate Your Life in Arizona. We briefly lived in Arizona.
I see.
And I saw her there maybe 2009, I think, or something.
Well, before she passed, she encouraged, again, she really wanted me to stay in touch with, her institute, her community, and I was very happy to do that. And I was even thinking at the time, how can we leverage technology with love? And I was, really interested in all the conversations going on in the world and on the news about, all the bad news we take in, all the things that are happening in the world. We don't really pay attention or focus a lot on love and kindness and all the good stories in the world. So I was thinking, why can't we just, why can't I, as an experiment, intend to use Facebook as a way to, communicate all over the world and connect with like-minded and heartfelt people to explore these, deeper issues. And it's been wonderful. Debbie always, at the deepest level, knew what was best for me, and so I signed up for it. And sure enough, we have friends from all over on Facebook come and stay with us at the Hilliard Hacienda here in La Jolla. And so, I've my circle of loving friends and colleagues have expanded all over the world, and I thank Debbie every day for that. So we can go on more and more about, the conversations you can have on Facebook and everyday life. But, if you go into this, alignment, you can carefully, with love, think about every word that you share with the world. And it's infinite in terms of what our choices are in how we communicate with people. And so I carefully and with intention try to express love and kindness with every word and every back and forth connection and transmission I have with somebody, going back to energy. So
I love it.
That's what we're all about here, and that's what I've really intended to do. And I thank you for acknowledging that, because sure enough, I've met you and I've met your family, and that's a blessing, and it's really, really wonderful.
Brian, I love that, and I love that your parents and your mom honored that in you, because I for sure did not grow up in this space, in this headspace, and in this energy, and it was so important to me. I think it actually. My husband and I obviously we met when I was 20 and he was 18, and we were already living together and working together and sharing a business before we even got married, but. So we've been together like 24/7, except for like a couple days, like I gave birth twice, and but we're together, we travel together. Last year I had the pleasure of going to an Oprah show and being in the audience, and my whole family came with me. It's sort of part of our lifestyle vision for us. They did not, they stayed at the hotel, but we went together, and we're always together, all of us. And I know you are too. I know you spend a lot of time together, and that vision, that's the vision that we have had for our family. But especially when I got let me back up. I was going to say, so I got introduced to, I've always been a fan of Oprah. So my husband even bought me the DVD like collector set years ago, because I always learned something from every time I watched it. I learned something that I could take away and apply somewhere in my life. And so we started, I don't know, so I guess I've always kind of been on a self-help, self-personal growth, self-improvement journey. But especially when I got pregnant, I had this feeling that everyone was like, you have to, think about what you eat. And I mean, I found out I was pregnant. I went home and had a carrot. Like, I'm like, what am I going to eat? I don't know what I can eat that's safe for me and this baby. But then right away, I started to think everything I say and everything I think must be transmitted as well. So I didn't know what I know now, but I was on to something. And so it just put me in that space. My husband would say stuff and I would say, the baby's listening. Like, do you feel comfortable saying in front of the baby? And he's like, baby, like what? What? There's no baby yet? And I'm like, oh, there's a baby. So that's when I really started. But, as the kids started to speak and I don't know, it's kind of challenging because, you sometimes tend to be the, language police. When you get into, okay, so first of all, it is intentional. I agree with you. Every day I do as well. Set the intention of what type of energy I'm going to be delivering and how I show up in the world. But the more you practice it kind of becomes your lifestyle. So, I mean, that just kind of is me being me. But sometimes, with the kids and everything, we will catch each other, and not in a bad way, but to help raise awareness. So not to shame anyone or make anyone feel bad, but we will intentionally notice when something doesn't feel good or we said something that kind of, triggered somebody or felt a certain way, whatever. But I just think it's so important and we don't spend enough time doing that. And when you said you wanted to join Facebook, I was resistant as well. You reminded me of my husband, though. If anybody wants him, they have to contact me. He doesn't answer his cell. He has a cell. He barely uses it. He's never, he's more kind of introverted. And when I got on Facebook, I was kind of disappointed at some of the news feeds and things that would pop in. Even now, if it's something that, like, betrays my soul, I say, hide this post. Like, please don't show me that. I cannot see that. It doesn't feel good to me. I have that discernment. And so that's why I started what I call Prana boosting. And I started a page, which was really just for me to gather like quotes and ways that I could shift my mind, like change my, because my vibration would switch based on what I was reading or what I was hearing. And I'm like, oh God, now I'm going to have to boost myself up, like almost cleanse myself like a energetic shower, Yeah. So I wanted to spend my time, more often doing the prana boosting and doing the uplifting vibrational, work. Not that I'm unaware of other things, but just focus more of my time in that space. So I love that you said you did that, and I love that you joined, Facebook on behalf of Debbie, and you've probably connected with so many souls who needed that integration from you into technology.
Well, and as I said, it's a mutual transference. It's a loving exchange, and we both get, all of us get filled up. Like you say, if you're sharing love, it's coming. It is your truth, and you're expressing it from your deeper self. The world benefits, and certainly the person you're communicating with benefits. It's again something that Arielle and I are very committed to. We try to stay present to that, and we now see, and I think we all feel, which is the most important, I think, and we can talk about that if you like, but how you're feeling is very important, and what emotions are evoked from those feelings, and how you manage those feelings. And it's like you say, Arielle always shares in her stories about soulmate love is sometimes you have to practice it and continue to, fake it until you make it. But hopefully then that gives you the feedback loop that's really important in terms of the world giving you your, mirroring back to you who you are and what you're aspiring to be. And pretty soon that changes your entire chemistry. I won't go into the science of it, but I do love it. And pretty soon, we all know that now with epigenetics and everything, it's actually changing your DNA. And pretty soon, with this alignment that I talk about, the heart and the mind, you actually add energy. You actually create a reservoir of energy, so you can call on it at any time, even when things are chaotic or stressful or anything. You find yourself out of balance. You actually have a reservoir, and we now measure that in science, so we do have the electromagnetic measurement of it, and that's what I rely on. I work with people, and I have for 30 years every day with people that live on the street. So you see a lot of despair, a lot of turmoil, and and I couldn't accomplish or do some of the things I do without the self-love and care of building up your energy reserve, your prana, since we're prana boosters here. And you actually, again, you can measure that. So you create a capacity for yourself to even share more love and more care, because you can actually call on that. You can actually really absorb and really integrate that, and then take that out in the world. So you can actually even have more capacity to experience chaos, because in your world you're still at a calming, loving, peaceful state, and you can better respond to the things that are going out in the outside world. And so that's been my practicing.
I love that, Brian. I did not know that you did that, and that's amazing. It's funny, every time you're speaking, it's triggering things for me. I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like fireworks in my brain, because it's so much of what I'm focused on and what I'm teaching and what I'm learning too, because I'm learning every day. You know, I always tell everyone I would not want someone to watch this and feel like this is a life of living in perfection. It's funny, you said so many key words. I'm going to try to focus. You know, I walk around telling everyone about epigenetics.
Yeah.
And everyone's all like, what? And, you know, I love that word, and I love that space of science, and I love that the science is backing up everything that we're saying. And, you know, one of the things, because it's not about perfection, right? It's about choice and vision and lifestyle. It's not about being perfect, but it's about noticing when our energy is not aligned. You know, I have little girls who will ride their scooters, and if they fall or topple or something, they get up and be like, oh, Mama, I was not aligned. And we'll kind of look at that and be like, well, you know, what were you thinking right then? You know, do you want to like align your energy before you get back on? I mean, we go to Disneyland, which is very, very high, you know, tons of energy place. But, you know, I'm not sure. Maybe, I don't want to say we're the only ones, but we're the only ones I know of who align our energy before we walk into some place, like anywhere, but someplace like Disney especially. You know, we're wrapping ourselves in angel wings, we're putting bubbles of white light around us and everyone around us, and intentionally setting the, you know, space for us to be in, even if it's busy.
Yes. Well, you know, again, my mom, you know, you're big on parenting. My mom, again, created that container for me to just go out and explore this from the time I was 4 or 5 years old.
Wow.
And martial arts was something I pursued on a really big level. And that's all you practice is the Kundalini work and the breath work, the prana, you know, to create that psychic bubble or that etheric field for you to dance in that world of tumult and chaos and conflict, and still have a purpose of being peaceful in a restful awareness state of mind, and living from your heart, so you can combat and offset and deflect all those energies. So you're doing wonderful things, and
that helps you assist others, because when you can stand in your energy field without getting thrown out by somebody else's emotions. I teach a lot about emotional intelligence, and when you can stand in that truth, that's when you have the ability to do it. I'm glad you brought up kind of the science of it. You know, this was actually at the end of my questions, but I'm going to just ask you about it now. It seems like it makes sense. You know, everyone talks about that we have an epidemic of heart disease, especially among women. You know, and we in our family, we're all vegan. Even the kids are vegan. And I know that nutrition and thoughts and, you know, the whole study of epigenetics are a huge part of the equation of our health. But to be honest with you, in my heart, what I feel is that, like, we're ready for, like, a big wake-up call, a big, like, human wake-up call where our hearts literally need more love. And, you know, an increase in our health and the vibration. And, you know, the fact that you and Arielle travel the world sharing these messages of love, I think is so amazing, because I think that is part of the healing of those physical ailments too. You know, that it's, I don't know exactly the scientific, you know, terms to state, but that, you know, maybe that's something you can relate it more to, but I really believe that.
Yes. Well, you can, you know, hope is one thing, belief is beautiful, but then we all can get into the knowing. And,
Right.
we now know, and through experience, which is where I really, I get,
Okay, I know it. I know it. I just.
yes, exactly.
I just want it explained better, so you take
Beautiful.
that one.
Well, and again, everything you shared, you set it up beautifully, and everything you shared is very powerful. And again, the emerging science is finding out all about this and confirming and qualifying all of it. But you're right. It's every thought, every deed is a response to, because we are interconnected to our physical and our spirit, and as well as our mind, and we're all interconnected and interwoven in that with that dynamic. And so, yes, you actually, love is the foundation. You said it beautifully. I think we all through experience understand what and feel our bodies changing when we're in that state of love, that state of unconditional love, free of judgment. We become more liberated with each experience of that kind of love and transmission, and that's all energy. Again, it's all being measured.
Right.
I come from a group of people that have been, we've been studying this for 40 years, and it's the new science. It's going to actually be in all of our smartphones in the next 5 years or so, and that is the measurement of our heart rate variability. We have found now that if we move into entrainment with our heart and our mind, we can actually measure our heart rate variability and improving our heart rate variability.
Oh.
And that has an effect on our cortisol levels, our frontal cortex lobe, our DHEA levels. So therefore, when you're in this state, everything's firing at top efficacy. So you're optimally performing on all levels, mind, body, and spirit, when you're in this dynamic. And it's just a matter of becoming aware of that and paying attention to that. There's a lot of new biofeedback to give you the results you need. And as I said, soon to be in every smartphone that anybody carries with them,
Wow.
where we can be walking around, interacting with people, being in New York City in the middle of the grid with all that chaos and people, or Disneyland, as you said, and we can actually practice our breathing, practice some techniques to actually get into that restful state of awareness and that state of love and care, that huge heart frequency, which is now called the heart intelligence. We measure it. Neurocardiology is now caught up with all my friends and heart groupsters that have been dedicating their lives to this science. And now it's bringing it to the forefront and bringing it to a more mass, awareness and collective consciousness. It's really exciting the emerging science. So everything you said, but the foundation is love, that energy of love, the transmission of love, that transmission of self-care, and that understanding that more you're in that dynamic and you build up that capacity, the more you'll have a capacity for compassion and empathy. And that's what we all strive for, I'm sure, and aspire to. And then obviously that changes our entire relationship with ourselves and everyone we encounter.
Yeah, God.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a gorgeous thing. And the kids are already getting it. You've already, we've talked about this. I was fortunate to have a mother who modeled every day unconditional love. We call her the Amma of Portland, Oregon. She passed last year, and you might know that Amaji, the hugging saint, married Arielle and I, an integral part of our life. And but we call her the Amma of Portland, Oregon, because when you were in her presence, you really felt it, and you were left with something which was this incredible energy of love and care. And so I was fortunate to have that kind of model, and now the kids, with parenting, being conscious parents like yourself, providing a container for good health, good thoughts, loving exchanges. These kids are already being born in with, that we don't need to get into the details, but with an expanded awareness.
Yeah.
And as you said, I don't know how wild and fun we want to get, but heart crystals are big. Our heart, you said about the potential of love, more and more people are having their heart crystals activated. And that's not woo-woo at all. That's all just real, straightforward science and energy. There's an intelligence opening up within us, and more of us, even though it seems chaotic in the world, actually that's sometimes stimulating people to find out other.
Oh, Brian,
because that's the answer.
You're cutting out just a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's better. Now I can hear you.
Well, I'll go back very quickly. Is more and more heart crystals are being activated, even with the chaos in the world. And if you watch CNN, because of some of the things happening, it's accelerating, as well as the energetics from the planet, accelerating this alignment that I'm talking about, which is activating people's heart crystals. So more and more people are waking up to caring for each other and caring for themselves. It's subtle, it's quiet, but it really is truly happening. I feel strongly about this. So what you're onto, what you're into, what you're sharing with the planet is such a gift, and it's really in alignment with what's happening, I think, in terms of the overall dynamic of our planetary shift.
I can feel it, and everyone who knows me, I have a purse, like a bag that actually has a little heart, like a little tiny baggie hanging from it. It's built in or whatever, and inside it I have rose quartz crystals.
Yes.
And whenever I feel inclined, I hand those out at my workshops, but I often hand out a rose quartz to someone, just a small little rose quartz, because I work with people with crystals, and we do chakra healing and all that fun stuff in our family. But it's just a matter of, I think, helping each other. We're around for this, and we're a part of this beautiful time. And I know there's so many people who are still yet unaware of it, but there's more and more that are waking up to the knowledge every day and wanting to integrate it and participate. And luckily, I think with technology and social media, it's all parallel. We can connect and find each other and help hold each other's hands. I always say crossing over the bridge,
Yes. Well, that's a wonderful visual, and I can feel that, Tina, and thank you for that. If we're all, again, you're right, opening up to that potential and that opportunity, and more folks doing that and understanding, as you are doing so well, connecting to energy, which is really all we are, is energy and information at the deepest level, even quantum and beyond. Again, I won't go into the science of it.
I love it. I like the science.
If we relate more to that and connect to those feelings and emotions, which is energy, we actually, the more and more, again, we expand this heart frequency, more and more heart crystals are activating. Therefore, more and more of the density of our unexpressed emotions, despair, angst, depression, anger, all those feelings is a collective density that we all can tap into, unfortunately. And sometimes it really impacts people that are having problems or having these emotions that are hindering their growth or their awareness or their relationship with themselves or others. So folks like yourself, devoted to this loving frequency, this heart vibration, your two kids, your husband, but your two kids walking around going high vibe, man. That is not just a sentiment. It's not just some nice words. Right. It's really actually dissolving and dissipating the density of these emotions of fear and anger that sometimes control our behaviors and our actions. So it's such a contribution. I can't stress it enough, and I can't talk about it without getting really, really excited and having a million happy cells activated, because that's the dance that's important to us and important, I think, to the planet, because we've got to keep burning off this density so we can free ourselves to do what you're doing, and that's love each other and love ourselves and care for each other.
Yes. Thank you for saying all that, and thank you for doing it and being it, and I love it. We stay up late in our house. Even the kids stay up late. We're night people, and I don't know. I couldn't even sleep last night. I was literally so excited to have this conversation, and I must have gone to bed close to 3, and And then usually I'll sleep in, and I'll set my alarm, make sure I'm up. But I was up at like 7 something, like just buzzing. I was so excited to talk about. These are just my favorite things to talk about and my favorite conversations to have. And I just so much appreciate that you were available today to do this with me, because so there's so many things that we could talk about. There's things we haven't even touched on. So I want to check in with you and figure out how you are on time. But I believe that if we actually work at this and we put the effort in and we can help each other learn these magnificent things that you're talking about. And for the people who, call it woo-woo or, are a little afraid of opening their hearts to it, I love that the science is there to back it up, because, we have all different types of thinkers. And it's, I enjoy both sides of it, actually. But it's something very close to our hearts, too. So I appreciate that. How are you on time?
I'm fine. I can, as I said, spending time with you fills me up.
Oh, thank you.
This topic and all the things we're sharing fills me up. So I could actually go all day. So I made room for our conversation and create the space for all these things, all these groovy things we're talking about. Okay. And I wore my shirt just in devotion to all this. Do It for the Love Foundation. I don't know if anybody knows Michael Franti, but he's doing wonderful work. He's a beautiful singer on the planet, and he has a great foundation called Do It for the Love.
Yes, and I love that song that
And I like blue too.
Do you? That's interesting. Oh wow! See, you have so many synchronicities with my hubby. We will have to get you together.
Yeah,
that's his favorite color too, and yeah, I see so many similarities, and it's so. I was just thinking of, there's this song actually. I always think of songs that I could play, at events or things like that, and there's this song that I fell in love with. Okay, so let me tell you about the movie Inside Out really quick, and I didn't even have this written down, but I just thought about sharing this with you. So Inside Out is this new Disney Pixar movie, we
watched it. Yes.
Okay, yeah, right. So kind of, a little bit touching on emotions, and of course my kids are so much way deep down the rabbit hole, so it was very elementary to them. But after we got out, everyone's like, oh, which character are you, and everything like that, and I asked them, I said, well, which character do you think is me, And they could have easily said fear, because I'm very open with them about, my emotions and things and how I deal with fear and what I do. Sometimes they see me fly with like a big selenite wand. But they said joy. They said, Mommy, when we think of you, we think of joy. And they know that I'm deeper than just unicorns and rainbows, but I do cry if I see a rainbow. I have yet to see a real unicorn, but I do live in that heart space. I just always kind of have. And I love this song by Jason Mraz called Living in the Moment.
Yes.
And thinking about, Michael, what you just said, your shirt and the foundation and, Jason Mraz, and thinking about lyrics, when we talk about mindful language, my kids just adore Taylor Swift. They just really do. But they're not a fan of her lyrics.
Yes.
They actually hear them. They actually listen to them.
Right.
My youngest one makes me turn it off. But we don't realize the effect, and a lot of people don't realize the awareness levels that these children have. So, I think about the things they learn and the things they hear at very young ages. And like you were talking about the brain and how it can integrate and process with the frontal lobe and all the parts of the brain, I think they have a hard time. And I think that relates to issues that people have with parenting and growing up and showing emotions, is that, they're being affected on so many levels.
Yes.
By just what's around them. I'll have parents who come to me and said, my child's acting out, and something, I'll say, what was happening at that moment? What was on in the background? Do you run the news? Was anyone fighting? Were you, and there's so many questions to ask and so many variables, but I think when we learn about that heart space and that energy of how it affects us on so many levels, from song lyrics to, I'm writing my first book, and I'll tell you, I've brought it up about nursery rhymes. So you have a lot of nieces and nephews, you said? 26, you said?
Yes.
I couldn't sing nursery rhymes to my children when I was, row, row, row your boat, that's okay. But, I would do like, Rockabye Baby. And if you listen to the words of this very popular song, it's not very mindful.
Right.
Talking about falling and anyway, I too don't want to go too deep, but I mean, it's just I think fun to wake up and have that awareness and start exploring all these topics further.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful insight from you, and again, a choice because of that awareness that you were able to make, and because of your discernment. You're parenting your kids in a certain way, and I'm sure I can see from Isabella that she's a open-hearted recipient of all your wonderful conscious parenting and loving. So
sometimes,
but and we have to obviously understand that things happen like that we move from being in balance, and then we quickly get back into balance. But that's my life journey, is this whole understanding of emotions. You mentioned emotional IQ. It's a big thing. The heart intelligence, the heart frequency, combining those two. The folks I hang around with, they really say we don't have to worry about a nuclear bomb or anything. What we really have to worry about is our unexpressed and unmanaged emotions. We're still learning how to grow and expand, and our potential is infinite, but we're still having difficult times being with ourselves, loving ourselves. And if that's the case, then that obviously has an impact with every relationship we have. So we are all in a process of waking up and holding hands, as you said, which is a beautiful visual, and expanding the circle. But we're all in this together, and we just want to love and care for people moving through those stages, and hopefully everybody waking up to a more expansive, wider, deeper way of looking out for each other. It's really we're at a critical time, but it's our own individual journey to really improve our emotional IQ and learn how to manage our emotions and learn how to love and care for ourselves in a much larger capacity. It's exciting.
It is exciting. And you mentioned Deepak being your friend and close like family, and I actually really only saw him for the first time recently in person.
Okay.
I went to a Super Soul Sessions event, which was for Oprah.
Yeah.
And he was one of the speakers here at UCLA, and it was fascinating, and there's an energy when that man speaks, for sure.
Yes.
It was the first time I heard him in person, actually.
Well, he was such a pioneer. He really languaged quantum physics and alternative medicine in a very special way. It's, he shares, the poetry of Rumi and Hafiz and Tagore, and he brings his own poetry into his own languaging when it comes to these energetic principles we're talking about, and these foundations that we all live by, which is love and care. I have deep respect and love for Deepak, and it's been a pleasure, privilege, and a joy to be in his life the way we are, and I've learned a great deal from that man and his incredible wife Rita. So it's fun.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. So let's just share with our listeners a little bit. I want to touch on it, but speaking of you and Arielle and your long-term successful loving relationship, we all know it takes work. So I know that the effort that all right, I'm going to confess something really quick. The effort that we put in, so I was telling you that I used to watch Oprah. Well, years ago I had to tape it with like a VHS tape and everything. And I used to tape it, and every episode I would yell for Alan, and I call him Babe. And I would be like, Babe! Yeah. And now my husband does, we've been making video games for 15 years, so I've been holding a lot of this stuff in, which is why he told me to get a bigger audience. He's like, you need a bigger audience. I would call him in and I'd say, Babe, you gotta hear this. Babe, you gotta see this episode. And he would walk in and, from doing his computer work, because he's a 3D modeler and character designer, and he would say, if you don't stop Oprah-sizing me, And it became a verb, in our lives. But I'll tell you, he knows it too, because he's just as deep. I mean, he enjoys a lot of what you're talking about, the quantum physics. And I always say I'm more interested in the micro, like how we're speaking to our children and how we're acting. He's very interested in macro, astral projection and everything. But, we do so much work on our relationship. We put so much work into our own self-growth, our own evolution, and then our vision for each other, our vision for our family, our vision for our marriage. I mean, it does, a good relationship doesn't just happen by itself, and it does take an investment of time and energy and a level of commitment that I think a lot of people are not used to or not aware of, or, are not really in the marriage vows that we typically say. So, I wanted to ask you, I'll just share with you, a few of the secrets to a loving relationship for us is having awareness of my own energy, both of us respectively, having awareness of our own energy and taking care of our energy. And I actually have millions of favorite quotes, but one of them is please be responsible for the energy you bring into this space, by Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor. And I always say that. My kids know it. I walk around saying it. My husband says it. But really, that's one of our, secrets is being responsible for our energy. But also, really big ones for us are laughter, gratitude and appreciation, and forgiveness. Constant forgiveness all the time of ourselves, of each other. And not for like big things, not for like messing up, for like little things, for having emotions, for, not saying something the way you really meant it, or things like that. So, laughter's just big, and we were together for quite a long time. I think 8 years we were together before we got engaged, and we were fighting a lot back then, early on in our relationship, and that's why we started reading all these books together. But we would argue, and I thought that the goal was for us to learn how to argue well. Like, that was my goal. Like, okay, well, we're going to argue. It's normal. I want to learn how to do it well and do it without, with as minimal damage as possible to our relationship and our spirit. But one time I asked him, I was crying, and I said, I just don't understand why we're together, and maybe we're not supposed to be together. And he looks at me and he goes, this relates to the laughter part. He looks at me and he goes, but we always have a really good time when we go to Vegas. And I was like, that's your reason? Like, that's your reason why we should be together and spend our lives together and work together? And it was really funny, but laughter is huge for us. So to me, that's a big prana booster, is laughing and breaking that energy up and changing those patterns. So I want to know if you and Arielle have some, just a couple quick secrets that you can share.
Well, she's written many books on this subject, so she's dedicated to it. It's funny you mentioned earlier about perfection, and her second book was Wabi Sabi Love, which is
I love that.
The whole idea of finding the perfection in all of our imperfections. So we all go through that together as a couple, and our vision of a soulmate relationship, or somebody that has a deep heart connection with their lover, is 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. 1 + 1 = 11. So you really do. So what you're really doing is growing as yourself, as your own imprint, and then when you come together, all your qualities add exponentially to the benefit of that relationship, and what your soul needs to learn, and what you are doing here on this incredible earth journey. And that is only enhanced and improved by two people coming together, devoted to that level of love and care for ourselves and each other. So, fortunately for Arielle and I, we met late in our lives. Arielle was 44. And because of her life experiences, she had to go through, as you said earlier, all the human potential conferences, programs, the self-help. She had therapy, for years and years to really nurture and nourish and, really elevate her own vibration to be prepared for big love, which is, how we characterize our relationship. And and that's that 1 + 1 = 11
I
dynamic.
like that.
Yeah, so I too went through that same process, and so we kind of feel that within our own conspiracy of love, and I mean conspiracy, there's so many energies, activities, past lives. If you dive into that domain,
Right?
all of the opportunities and seeds that were planted for us to meet at that divine time, meaning that we were preparing ourselves that entire time for our two souls to collide.
Yeah, I heard her mention that you had passed through time and space briefly when what did she mention? She was working with a hotel, the Mondrian Hotel, and I think I heard her say something that she was there when you were there, but you guys weren't not ready yet, not in alignment yet to meet yet.
Yes, I was living.
That's so cool.
I was living in the Mondrian for a while, and then she was working for the owners, and so we were in the lobby crossing each other's paths, and her balcony actually on Doheny looked right out to mine at the Mondrian.
Wow.
So, our frequencies, our energies, everything was bubbling and conspiring, but fortunately, and some people would say that was just random and it was lucky and all that. We feel there's an organizing principle to all that,
Right.
and it's comprised
We know
of
that.
energy and love and all that. But we met many years later, and that was the proper timing. And again, we had done a lot of work. We were very devoted to this whole world of expanding our consciousness and elevating our vibration and all that. So. For us, it was much different than, say, your scenario, starting out in a relationship so young and then having children. That's a whole different dynamic. But it's still the same principles. Do you allow and accept your man or your beloved or your partner to grow? Will you stay in the fire throughout all that change and uncertainty? Do you learn to accept the nuances of your relationship, the idiosyncrasies of your partner, the inconveniences of their behavior occasionally? Do you forgive? Do you have a practice of forgiveness? Are you clear in your communication? Do you clean up if there is any conflict or any argument of any kind? Do you stay there and clean it up immediately? That's always worked for Arielle and I. And
You can sage each other, and
well,
we like to sage each other and rub it off, or get light a candle so there's some light in the room. All sorts of little rituals.
Well, again, you can approach it in any way you feel there's resolution to it, but it's primarily for us. It's just staying there if something was said or there's a difference in our thoughts or opinion about something or direction we want to go. We won't move until we're in alignment, and there's nothing but love as an exchange. And you say, we know when we're in that proper alignment. We know when we're in that higher elevation. Vibration, and we know when we're operating at our 4.0 instead of our Brian Hilliard 2.0.
Right.
And that's a process of then rebooting, doing whatever it takes to get back into alignment, get back into balance, and devote yourself to getting back on that path of that highest level of love and care for each other and what we're doing for the planet. And fortunately, we're in alignment quite often with that.
I love that.
Yeah.
It makes me think of there used to be this song when Alan and I were first dating. It was like called 2 in a Million, and we felt like that was us. We felt like we were just so much stronger together. And early on when we were fighting, we needed a shift, and I think he needed that shift actually more than me. But the shift that happened for him was that we're on the same team.
Yeah.
And we have the same kind of vision and the same values and the same goal. So of course we would, course, we would want to find our way back to alignment.
Yeah, and we had a wonderful member in our family, as you know, Debbie Ford, who was committed to the shadow. So that was a big part of my work even before, I met Debbie, was to understand what's driving our behavior sometime. And that's that whole idea of, not operating from your heart frequency, but operating from, again, a lower level of emotional intelligence, where we're actually responding from a place of fear or anxiety, stress, angst, despair, and sometimes even depression and beyond. But so we cleaned up. We were devoted to cleaning up and continually always, devoted and dedicated to, really being tuned into how we're responding to the mirror, which is our world, which is you, which is everyone around us. So we're very conscientious and feel it's an integral part of our evolving lives.
Well, it's beautiful. I can't say enough. I feel like there's so much we could share, and maybe this will be the first of many conversations we can have, together, talking about all of these topics. There's law of attraction, and all of Arielle's books that describe everything that we're talking about and everything that you're saying. But I don't want to keep you too long.
Yeah.
or.
Well, the one thing I'll add to that,
Yes.
since you mentioned it, which is really important, and maybe it's a good way to end this, is, and Arielle really emphasizes this, the secret and all these things, there is a purpose and a meaning and a benefit to the law of attraction and some of these things, but we feel very strongly, and sometimes left out of this teaching and this wisdom, is feeling that intention, really that intention. And she actually coined the phrase feelingizations. I've learned from another vantage point and come at it differently, but it's the exact same. It's just different languaging. But really connecting into that, with that alignment to everything you're talking about, everything you're doing, everything you're sharing, is really feeling every emotion that's coming through you. Gives you a better chance to manage that, and again, bring yourself back into balance and actually keep elevating that higher frequency of love and care. So I just wanted to add that, because you mentioned.
I love that.
Yeah. Intention is really powerful. Putting your awareness and your attention on what you're intending is really important, but the key ingredient we always feel and strongly support is connecting with your feeling of that intention, and it's all the magic will happen.
Yes, I love that. So my biggest focus is on feelings, actually. So I love feeling. How do you say it? Feelingization.
Feelingization. She has techniques and meditations and processes that get you into that that state. And actually, it's the same thing we're talking about in terms of expanding your heart and improving on your heart rate variability. Therefore, having the opportunity to really feel what you're sharing in terms of each word and each action that you share with the planet and the world. So, feelinizations is really, we think, a critical part of the equation.
I really like that. That feels really good to me when I hear it. I'll just tell you, well, I'm going to send you some stuff after this so you can see how in alignment I think we're thinking. So I actually I'm working on creating Prana Boost CPR, training people to be Prana Boost EMTs, which are emergency metaphysical technicians, and teaching people, everyone, Prana Boost CPR, which is emotional CPR, because I believe emotional emergencies are literally as important to and equal to physical emergencies. So we all know what to do when someone falls to the floor. But we don't know what to do if they act out at a coffee shop or in front of us at a family, gathering. I think we need training for this. I think doing her exercises, and I want to look into that more, everything that you're talking about that she's teaching, I think it's so necessary for us to expand our knowledge and our awareness about that. My grandma, she's no longer here either, and she used to always say to me, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I always tell the girls, I say, Bubby used to say this to me, but I think there's a step deeper. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, it's not only what you say or how you say it, it's how you feel when you say it.
Yes.
That's like the extra step and the kind of missing component about that. But I think feelings are so important. And so I look forward to exploring that with you. That's really cool.
I'll add one more thing.
Okay. We'll be doing one more thing till like 4 p.m. or something.
Well, just for your audience to really, if people are interested in the science and the research, I've been working with a group for decades now, and they're an institution or an organization called the HeartMath Institute. And they've been researching and developing this. They're one of the leading organizations in stress management. So they've developed all the biofeedback and all their technology will be in all the smartphones. They're the ones who came up with heart rate variability, and then now all the scientific community and the neurocardiologists are catching up with their pioneering of this research, and it's something for you to add because they also have techniques. And again, they've any people that are in the service industry. Firemen, policemen, military, hospital caretakers, people that are in overly stressed situations and environments, we all can benefit from the tools that we're talking about. So being able to, come into this qualitative and quantitative state, developing your energetic reservoir so you can do things on a daily basis that are stressful, more stressful than the average day. And that you find that to be true, as you know, with people saving lives, with people in this industry, people defending our country. These stress levels are measured, and we can dissipate and actually manage those through these techniques. And HeartMath is just extraordinary in all the work that they've been able to do. So I highly recommend, just Googling heartmathinstitute.org and finding out some of the things they've done and are doing, because they are revolutionary with our own overall wellness and well-being and our mental and emotional and spiritual health. It's really they're doing great stuff.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I will get all that information from you and also go to their website and get links. And I wanted to tell you that I'll actually when I post this podcast, I'll put all of Arielle's information and all her books and her website and social media and anything we can possibly include to share this information and anything that's important to you guys.
Tina, they have tremendous kids programs, very effective kids programs, all in this area of emotional management and stress related mitigation.
I think it's so necessary, and you talk about people in stress environments, but I got to tell you, it is so needed in the parenting realm.
Yes.
That's kind of my space. I do focus on mindful living, but the mindful parenting is nearest and dearest to my heart, and helping to give other parents these tools to be able to use within their own families, because I think there's a ripple effect. I think it starts in the home, like you said, with your parents and your mom and what she honored in you. I think it's a ripple effect out to our schools and our communities and our workplaces and workspaces of how we are, dealing with and managing emotions within the home environment.
Well, I'm a big supporter and encourage parents and certainly the kids to learn as many, and implement and add as many tools to your toolbox as possible to alleviate and mitigate stress, be more mindful, actually respond from a higher state so we can be a more loving and more beautiful and caring planet and global family. And we're getting there. We're definitely getting there, but it's awareness and it's just getting the word out, and yoga and all these meditation, all these wonderful tools are accessible to us. We just have to continue to make them available for more and more people. And
I agree.
You're doing amazing work. So
thank you. I love it. And I want to tell you that I think the most important message that I would like to get out today from our conversation too, just to finalize, one of the most important is that just kind of how like you and we're not talking about it here, but maybe we'll do that another time. But the whole story of you, your love story with you and Arielle. Were you still there, Bri? Are you still there?
Yep.
I think it
Yep.
I think it froze for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. The whole knowledge that it's possible. I think a lot of people did not grow up like that, and maybe they're not in this space as much as we are, so they just do not even know that it's possible. So for listeners and our audience and anyone who hears this to know that it actually is possible. Wait, are you? I think you might be frozen. Can you still hear me, or?
I can still hear you.
So I was even going to ask you that, when you guys finally met in that divine timing when you were supposed to, I wanted to know if you guys believed it was even possible, because see, we have to believe that it's even possible for us to try to, work towards that vision. And I think everything you're saying about the heart math, and what's possible for raising your awareness and the effect that it can have on the planet, I think just people hearing us, knowing that it's possible, they would be more open to, integrating that into their lives.
Yeah, everything is possible. There's again truly a planet, our quantum world. Everything it's infinite in terms of our own possibilities and our own opportunities, and we just have to continue to practice and use our tools and continually be devoted to opening our hearts, and these things will find they will find a way to enter our own being, other people's beings, and it just really expand their own awareness to that potential of love and care. It's something that's again. It's more than even a belief. You get to a point where you understand that it's a God-given right for you to experience those depths of love and care, and it just takes a little time and a little practice and a little courage and stay in the game, and and things will unfold for you in a much brighter, more loving and extraordinary way.
Thank you, Brian. I can't even tell you how special this was to me and how much this has meant to me. And I love your space you come from. I love your energy. I love your knowledge. I hope to meet. No, that's weak. I can't say that. I look forward to meeting you and Arielle in the future and sharing some space together and some lovely conversation. Your energy emanates around you, and I feel it, and I heard the call, and I found you, and I'm so grateful to know you and share space with you today. I encourage all of our listeners to listen and connect with you guys more, and on all of your websites. Like I said, I'll have everything posted so everybody can learn more about the benefits of raising your vibration to attract love and everything that you ever dreamt of in your life, and more. So I say thank you, Brian, and I say namaste.
Namaste. Thanks for all the love that you share, and the light worker that you are, and the model that you are for all of us, you and Alan, and your relationship, and how you're parenting your kids. It makes my heart sing. So thank you, and love all the people in your audience, and anybody can call me at any time or friend me on Facebook. I'll be available for that.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you so much. And please send my best to your other half and your soulmate. Oh, wait. Who's here? Oh, okay. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay.